से भेंट है, एक प्रकार से हमारा संस्कार है, एक कंसेशन भगवान ने कलयुग में दिया।
Your hand, for God's sake. Um, what are you doing? Letting them know that you're here, for God's sakes.
She can see it, right?
Fine then.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Today, the reciters are Uma Mataji doing the English recitation and Sri Lalita Susmini Mataji doing the Sanskrit. We'll be reading from 10 to 3, chapter 12, verses 15 to 28. So, Sri Lalita Mataji, when you're ready, please start with invocation. Thank you.
Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Itya Adishta Swaguruna Bhagavan Nila Lohitaha Sattvakriti Swabhavena Sasarjatma Samahaprajaha.
Hare Krishna. The most powerful Rudra, whose bodily color was blue mixed with red, created many offspring exactly resembling him in features, strength, and furious nature.
Rudranam Rudrashashtanam Samantadgrasatam Jagat Nishamya Sankasyo Yuthan Prajaptir Asankata.
The sons and grandsons generated by Rudra were unlimited in number, and when they assembled together, they attempted to devour the entire universe. When Brahma, the father of the living entities, saw this, he became afraid of the situation.
Alam Prajabhihi Shishtrabhir Idrishibhi Surshurottama Maya Saha Dahanti Bhir Dishas Chakshur Ulbaneh.
Brahma told Rudra, O best among the demigods, there is no need for you to generate living entities of this nature. They have begun to devastate everything on all sides with the fiery flames from their eyes, and they have even attacked me.
Tapa Atishta Bhadram Te Sarvabhuta Sukhavaham Tapasaiva Yatha Purvam Shrashta Vishwam Idam Bhavan.
My dear son, you had better situate yourself in penance, which is auspicious for all living entities and which will bring all benediction upon you. By penance only shall you be able to create the universe as it was before.
तपसैव परं ज्योतिर्भगवन्तम् अदोक्षजं सर्वभूतगुहावासम् अंजसा विदन्ते पुमान्.
By penance only can one even approach the personality of Godhead, who is within the heart of every living entity and at the same time beyond the reach of all senses.
मैत्रेय उवाच एवम् आत्मभुवादिष्टः परिक्रम्य गिरां पतिं बाधम् इत्यमुम् अमन्त्रय विवेश तपसेवनम्.
Shri Maitreya said, thus Rudra, having been ordered by Brahma, circumambulated his father, the master of the Vedas. Addressing him with words of assent, he entered the forest to perform austere penances.
अथाभिध्यायतः सर्गं दशपुत्रः प्रजजन्निर भगवच्चक्तियुक्तस्य लोकसन्तानहेतवः.
Brahma, who was empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sought of generating living entities and begot 10 sons for the extensions of the generations.
मरीचिर् अङ्गिरसौ पुलस्त्यः पुलहः क्रतुः भृगुर्वसिष्ठो दक्षश्च दशमस्तत्र नारदः.
I think you're muted, Prabhu
Oh,
Mataji.
sorry. Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulastya, Pulaha, Kratu, Brigu, Vashistha, Daksha, and the 10th son, Narada, was thus born.
उत्सङ्गानारदो जज्ञे दक्षो अङ्गुष्ठात् स्वयंभुवः प्राणाद् विशिष्टः सञ्जतौ भृगुस्त्वचीकरात् क्रतुः.
Narada was born from the deliberation of Brahma, which is the best part of the body. Vashistha was born from the breathing, Daksha from the thumb, Brigu from his touch, and Kratu from his hand.
पुलहो नाभितो जज्ञे पुलस्त्यः कर्णयो ऋषिः अङ्गिरा मुखतोऽक्षिणोत्रिर्मरीचिर्मनसोऽभवत्.
Pulastya was generated from the ears, Angira from the mouth, Atri from the eyes, Marichi from the mind, and Pulaha from the navel of Brahma.
धर्मः स्तनात् दक्षिणतो यत्र नारायणः स्वयम् अधर्मः पृष्ठतो यस्मान् मृत्युर्लोकभयङ्करः.
Religion was manifested from the breast of Brahma, wherein is seated the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, and irreligion appeared from his back, where horrible death takes place for the living entity.
हृदि कामो भ्रुवः क्रोधो लोभश्चाधर दच्छदात् आस्याद् वाक्सिन्धवो मेद्रान् नृतिः पायोरघाश्रयः.
Lust and desire became manifested from the heart of Brahma, anger from between his eyebrows, greed from between his lips, the power of speaking from his mouth, the ocean of his penis, and low and abdominal activities from his anus, the source of all sins.
छायायाः कर्दमो जज्ञे देवहूत्यः पतिः प्रभुः मनसो देहतश्चेदं जज्ञे विश्वकृतो जगत्.
Sage Kardama, husband of the great Devahuti, was manifested from the shadow of Brahma. Thus all became manifested from either the body or the mind of Brahma.
वाचं दुहितरं तन्वीं स्वयंभूर्हरतिं मनः अकामां च कमेक्षतः स काम इति नः श्रुतम्.
O Vidura, we have heard that Brahma had a daughter named Vak, who was born from his body and who attracted his mind towards sex, although she was not sexually inclined towards him.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, it's up to 28.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to the chat class today. And can we recite the invocation prayers together? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Did we recite the Mangalacharan? Or I think I can just do that.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, not yet. So
Okay.
would you like to recite it, please? Thank you.
Yes, please. Yeah, thank you. So can we all put our hands together, close our eyes? And you can keep yourself on mute, but please do join me in the recitation of the Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So thank you all so much for joining today. So today we are going to continue with chapter 12, verse 17 to 20. So what I wanted to do was, since we are speaking about Rudra and Shiva, And we did have a question a couple of days ago. I thought it'll be good for us to understand the unique position of Rudra or Shiva, and then that can also beautifully, explain the context of the passages, the verses 17 to 20. So, for the purpose of understanding a bit more about the unique position of Shiva, I've got a presentation, and then we'll move to verses 17 to 20. And while we do this, it will also be a good opportunity for us to glorify Lord Shiva, who is the greatest of Vaishnavas. So I hope you're able to see my screen.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. So it's quite interesting because 17 to 20 is going to be when Rudra goes into penance, and we will come to that in a little while. So let's look at what is the unique position of Shiva, and we will use some of the references from scriptures as we go along. And at the same time, if you do have any reflections about Shiva, about because there are so many pastimes related to him, please please to unmute yourself and share. So Lord Shiva or Rudra, he's got a very unique and significant position in the entire cosmic manifestations. As we know, we have the three main deities as Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar or Shiva. And Brahma is entrusted with the creation of the universe. Lord Vishnu with the maintaining of the universe, and Lord Shiva with the destruction of the universe. However, although the intention is to be focusing on destruction as a service, it's also important for us to see the mode in which we can understand him a little better. So Lord Shiva is the most is the most powerful and the most exalted Vaishnava, and he's second only to Lord Vishnu. Even Brahma is not as powerful as Lord Shiva. And Shiva is also regarded as an expansion of Lord Krishna. So, as Krishna, Krishna is, as we know, is the Lord at rest, and so whenever he wants to create the universe, he manifests himself in different energies, and Shiva is the expansion of Lord Krishna in the as the as the being, as the divine being who's focused on the destruction of the universe. So so I don't know how many of you may be aware of this, but there are 64 qualities and scriptures say that Krishna has got 64 qualities. So, and he's opulent in all of them, and his opulence is infinite. So the scriptures also goes on to say that Lord Brahma possesses 78% of those qualities, and Lord Shiva possesses 84% of these qualities, whereas Krishna possesses 100% of these qualities. And when we are coming into the material world, we all have a similar position as Brahma, but because of our karmic actions, because of the choices that we make, we fall down further and further. So so you can possess up to 78% of the qualities, but none of them can possess all 100. So this really also establishes the transcendental position of both Krishna and Lord Shiva, with the difference being that Lord Shiva has got a linkage to the material universe, although he's not necessarily part of the material universe. So let's continue with that. So the living beings can never possess attributes as we know fully, like Shiva, Vishnu, or Krishna. We can become godly developing the 78% that we said, but we cannot go really beyond that. And what we can do in our various lifetimes is to strive to come as closer to 78% as possible. So trying to make this as much of a smart goal as some of you may know. So how do you really make your spiritual goals very, very specific? So one way of doing that will be, how can I really imbibe some of these qualities? How can I remove the impurities in my heart, and how I can really come closer to those transcendental attributes like compassion, humility, surrender, forgiveness. And but we can never aspire to be like one. So wherever there are the impersonalists who says, we are one with Brahman, or we are God, they are completely deluded, because you can never really like reach the transcendental qualities of the lordships. Shiva has got a connection, as I mentioned, with the material nature, and his service in this particular material universe is one of destroying the universe, and which also means that he's got a less role to play when like the universe is being created, because the energies that you use to create the universe is very different from the energies that you use to create to destroy the universe. Both of them coming from the same source, that's Lord Krishna, but then the nature of these energies are quite different. As we also know that like in our own lives, there is a creative energy that we possess, and there is a destructive energy that we possess. And one good example I can like share is, let's say, I don't know how many of us have played with cards before. I like playing cards. So one of the things that we can do is to like create like a building, or like of like cards packed one after the other. So the creativity comes in terms of like how we are able to really like prepare some of them, and how are we able to keep the cards in a way that like helps like create some beautiful shapes and buildings. So it takes so much of time and effort to do that. And but how long does it take to destroy the pack of cards? Because once you create the building, the pack of cards, all you need is just like a small breath, and then like the pack of cards start falling down. So the energies that are associated with creation and destruction are quite different, although they emanate from the same source. The position of Lord Shiva is quite beautifully explained in Brahma Samhita. And this is a very interesting analogy that Prabhupada also uses very often. And can I request one of you to read this for us loudly?
I can read, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shapra Mataji, please go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Did somebody else wanted to read? Sorry, Prabhuji.
No. I thought it was Shipra Mataji, right? Or was it Namrata Mataji?
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Just as milk is transformed into curd by the action of acids, but yet the effect curd is neither same as, nor different. Its cause viz. Milk. So I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu is transformation for the performance of the work of destruction. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So this is how so this is really the metaphor or the analogy of milk and curds. So as we know, like milk is transformed into curd by the action of acids, and like there is a fermentation process that happens through which milk becomes curd. And yet the effect that the curd is neither same nor different. So the curd is not the same, because we can clearly see that the curd tastes very different. Even its constitution, even its physical like nature is quite different from milk, because curd has got a slightly like a semi-solid like appearance, rather than milk, which is purely liquid. But then even if they are not the same, but then like they're not even different from its cause. So And while we can make curd from milk, but we can't make milk from curd. So there is this very, very beautiful relationship of, like how, the difference between, the primeval Lord Govinda, that's Lord Krishna, and Lord Shiva is very, 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 very symbiotic. And what this also says is that either the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu, or the state of Shiva, that's another name for Shambhu is another name for Shiva, is a transformation for the performance of the work of destruction. So because this particular energy, so he's responsible for for performing the work of destruction. That's why, that's the form that he takes. I'm not able to share I'm not able to see any comments, but if there is anyone who has a comment or a question, please feel free to unmute yourself. And let's carry on. Let's continue with the unique positions. Um, so here are a few aspects, which has been picked up from various scriptures. So as I had mentioned before, Lord Shiva is considered to be the best of Vaishnavas and the devotee of Lord Krishna. Now, we do come from a culture, I mean, at least in India, where, like even I come from, where we have always been told about the three Murti, Brahma, Shiva, like Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and then we don't normally see much of a connection between between them, and we hear much less about the fact that Lord Shiva is the best of Vaishnavas, because we have a very strong like following, like who are called Shaivites, and then of course you have the Vaishnavites. But even the Shaivites, many of them may not even be aware that Lord Shiva is the best of Vaishnavas. So and then Srimad Bhagavatam chapter, canto 6, like chapter 3, verse 20 also tells us that Lord Shiva is one of the 12 Mahajans. So they are the authorities on Vaishnav philosophy. So we have others like Prahlad Maharaj, Bhishma Pitamaha. Um, Lord Shiva is considered to be one of the 12 Mahajans. Then in another reference on the Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Shiva says that anyone who reads his Rudra Gita prayer, he'll invoke the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which means that, when we pray to Lord Shiva, we can also pray to bless us to come closer to him, because Shiva is more merciful than Lord Krishna, and hence, like if we pray to Lord Shiva, Shiva also becomes more easily pleased. Then he'll also allow us to have the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Lord Shiva also tells his wife Parvati that he drank, and this is something that Indulekha Mataji did mention in the last class, that he drank hala hala, which came out to please Lord Vishnu. So how would anybody want to drink poison which can really harm you, to please the Lord? So this is a supreme, manifestation of his pure bhakti, of his service to Lord Krishna. And in Padma Purana, so Shiva tells his wife Sati, Sri Rama Rama Ramiti, Rame Rame Manorame, Sahasranama Tatulyam, Rama Nama Vararane. So, s- uh, Parvati asks, who's the god that that I should really pray the most? Who's got the the most like opulent qualities? And then here's where, and who's the most virtuous like person? And here's where Shiva says that he relishes chanting the names of Lord Ram, who's none other than Lord Krishna. And there is also a very interesting pastime when like Lord Shiva got quite bewildered when because Lord Vishnu, he's a lot of the mystics, and there was a point of time when he also took the incarnation of Mohini, and this is like when the when the devas and the asuras were competing for nectar, for the nectar of immortality. So when he got bewildered, he said that he's unable to completely understand the illusory energy of Lord Krishna. So it goes on to say that even the greatest Vaishnava can also get bewildered because of Maya, and what of like fallen souls like ourselves. And here's one which is like close to the Gita, and this is when like in chapter 11 of the Gita, Krishna shows Arjuna his universal form. So and Arjuna says that, like, my dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods. And then and then he also says that he can see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower as well as Lord Shiva. So you can see that they're all manifestations of Lord Krishna's energy. And and in the and this becomes very, very clear in the universal form that Arjuna sees. And very interestingly, in Brindavan, Lord Shiva wanted to, was so keen to participate in the Rasalila dance, and he desired to become a gopi. And it's just not like just not Lord Shiva, but a lot of the demigods, they decide to become a gopi. But this also shows his pure love, for and bhakti for Krishna. So coming close to the wrapping up, so Lord Shiva is neither avatar or Avesha. So it's a very unique position that Lord Shiva is, because he's the chief among the demigods. But you can't really call him an avatar or even an Avesha, because he's got a very, very unique position. And as we mentioned, he's the greatest demigod. He's second only to Lord Krishna, and he's also called the Adi Yogi. And there are many other names, and which really speaks about his various opulences. And he is also the spiritual master of the entire universe. And he also has his own spiritual line, called the Rudra Sampradaya. And today, that particular sampradaya is represented by the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya and the Vallabh Sampradaya. So I pause here and like invite any comments. What has been your experience of like of knowing Lord Shiva or Rudra? Because he's so unique, and it's so important for us to really understand his constitutional position, like as we read chapter 12.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Madan Pranamo, glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare
Prabhuji
Krishna.
beautifully explained, really lovely, nice, very nicely explained. The only question I had, Prabhuji, is, and I hear this a lot, is that the way I understood is Rudra is born because Brahma was angry and he came out of in the middle of his eyebrows. But then that is the Rudra form, which is also the Shiva form. But then Shiva form, if I understood this correctly, you said a few minutes ago that is also one of the manifestation energy of our Lord. But then I have also heard that Shiva is Swayambhu, which means he was self-generated by himself. As in, how Krishna, it's beautiful when we hear Krishna's pastime that Krishna took birth. Now we know that that's all pervading. He's still all pervading. But then I hear that Shiva is Swayambhu. So then is Shiva Swayambhu, or is he actually created by Lord Krishna's energy? Just trying to understand that, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for that. It might be helpful to really look at this from the point of view of um, so if somebody is born, that is the element of kal or time that comes into this. However, while we could take form in a particular like in a particular form like Lord Shiva. So, but we always have been there. We always have been eternal, and will continue to be eternal. So, um, in terms of your question about like whether Lord Shiva. So he is none other than Vishnu. So however, when it comes to looking at the creation of the material universe, Shiva is linked up to the material universe also, although he's got a very unique position, as we said, because you can't really say that he's part of the material universe because he's got all the opulences. In fact, he's got like 84% of the opulences that that Krishna has. So uh, has he been has he like really been self like created, as you mentioned? I'm not very sure what the scriptures really say, but then in the context of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that is the process of creation that's happened, and that's how like Rudra comes from like Brahma, because as we saw earlier, Brahmaji is the creator of the universe. However, it's also important to know that Krishna, who's the Lord in at rest, has given all these powers and these potencies to his various expansions. So it's very difficult to say whether somebody is born or not, because Shiva is an expansion of Krishna, so he was always there, isn't it? So why is Brahmaji creating like Rudra? So it's all like just one like just part of their wonderful pastimes, and we may not be able to use a very our material senses to completely comprehend something which can be quite inconceivable, if that makes sense.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. It does make sense, yes.
Yeah, because we are trying to understand, like the position in the context of what we think as like birth and appearance, etc. But it may not necessarily hold true for some of the exalted personalities, especially when we're talking about Lord Shiva, who's got such a unique position. Indulekha Mataji, maybe you can help.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please can accept my humble obeisances. O God, Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Sorry, I thought you will start at like 7, but it was quarter to 7. I missed. Sorry, I was in another class.
No problem.
Prabhuji, I will listen to your recording. Don't worry. Prabhuji, Mataji was saying that Lord Shiva is Swayambhu. Swayambhu is Lord Brahma. It's not Shiva, because the 12 Mahajans are Swayambhuva, Narad, Shambhu. Shambhu is Shiva, right? And then Kumaras, Kapiladev, Manu, Prahlad, Janak, Bhishma, Bali, Vayasaki is Sukdev Goswami, and then Yamraj. So Shambhu is not Swayambhuva. Swayambhuva is Brahma, because Brahma appeared, like Brahma didn't need a mother and father, he just appeared on the lotus, right? That is why he's not called Swayambhuva. And also I wanted to say something on the nice verse you started. It appears in Bhishma, no, was it Bhishma? No, not Bhishma Smriti. In a Vishnu Sahasranam. And Vishnu Sahasranam is composed by Bhishma Dev while he was on the bed of arrows. And then at last, when the narration is done, Mata Parvati is asking to Lord Shiva, Kaina Vacha Manasu, something like that. Mata Parvati is telling, this Vishnu Sahasranam is too long. In this Kali Yuga, my children, that means all of us, because we are the children of Shiva and Bhavani in this material world, as I said. So Parvati is saying, how will my children understand this? It's too long. In Kali Yuga, everybody will be short-lived, and then they will not be able to remember all this. So then Lord Shiva said, okay, Sri Rama Rama Rame Tirame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Rama Nama Varanane. Lord Shiva said, they don't have to say the whole Vishnu Sahasranam. They just say this word 3 times. So that means that one name of Lord, 3 names of Lord Ram equal to 1 name of Lord Krishna. And then 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu. That means once you say Krishna, that means 3 times Ram, and then that means 1,000 times Lord Vishnu. So that means that Lord Shiva is explaining to Mother Parvati. This is very, very beautiful verse. So if we cannot recite the whole Vishnu Sahasranam, if we want to, we just recite this one verse. That is what Lord Shiva is telling Mother Parvati. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, and thank you, Mataji, for the questions. So now, with that as a background, now that we know what the unique position of like Lord Shiva and Rudra is, let's come back to the verses. So we will start with the recitation, and then we will try to understand each of the verses in a little bit more detail and reflect on that. So is there anyone who would like to read the Sanskrit and the English translation?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. May I read, Prabhu?
Yes, Sushamataji, please go ahead.
Yes. Alam prajabihi सृष्टेर्भिरदृशिभिः सुरोत्तम मया सह दहन्तेर्भिर्देशाश्चक्षुर्भिरुल्बैः चक्षुर्भिरुल्बैः Translation. Brahma told Rudra, O best among the demigods, there is no need for you to generate living entities of this nature. They have begun to devastate everything on all sides with the fiery flames from their eyes, and they have even attacked me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Shamataji. Just before this, Brahma has told Rudra that please go ahead and generate progeny. That means that expand the universe and like create lots of like sons and like grandsons, and Rudra goes ahead and does that, and all his sons and grandsons are very much in his image. So they are full of passion, and this is again just the Leela. So we do know that although like Rudra is demonstrating, the mode of passion and a little bit of ignorance because he's a child mixed with, like blue and red. But he's got a very unique position. And please keep that in the context as we read through this. So, so Rudra has, gone ahead, and listened to his father, unlike the Kumaras who because they had, because they, they were in constant, devotional service to Vasudev. So, they were reluctant to carry out, their father's orders. But Rudra accepted his father's instructions, and then, he went ahead and created lots of sons and lots of grandsons. However, they were not exactly in the same. So they were in this very destructive mentality. And as I like mentioned like earlier, so the creative energy is very, very different from the destructive energy. So, and it's not very it's not right for the destructive energy to be there along with the creative energy, because then the work that the creative energy will do is going to be completely spoiled. And that's what like Brahmaji was facing at that point of time. And so he told Rudra. However, one reflection that one might want to have is that if he were to go back to what Brahma mentioned to Rudra, he had said, "Go and generate progeny." However, was that instruction enough? Or should that should those instructions have been qualified by something, which is to say, how do you really go about generating progeny? So um, and that's very like if you were to relate to how like things work, say at the workplace. So suppose your manager like asks goes ahead and tells you, Madan, just go and do this. And then what I would probably do is that I will, like do it, to the best of my ability, to the best of my experience, to the best of my expertise and understanding of the situation. However, if the manager, if it's a very complex, task, so then my manager will not only tell Madan, go ahead and do this, but then, like briefly say, please do consider, these factors when you're doing it. Or maybe he would say, please speak to this particular person because they may have a view on how this, work is to be done. So then, that is more guidance that is being provided to me, to be able to perform that particular task. And then one can expect that one can, that I would be able to do that task in a better way. So here is a very complex, work that's, that Brahma has given to Rudra, which is about, creating, about generating progeny. So, and because the instructions were not beyond that, I mean, it did not go beyond that. So Rudra used his own, qualities, and that, was primarily in the mode of passion. And then he, started generating progeny in the way that he would. And then that resulted in sons and grandsons having very similar qualities as what he does. And then that was getting that was really hindering the process of creation of the universe. So that's really the context in which Brahma speaks to Rudra now. And what he says is that, oh, best of the demigods, because Brahma has declared his constitutional position because he's the chief of the demigods. And he continues to say that, best of the demigods, there is no need for you to generate living entities of this nature. And and by saying this, this nature is nature very, which is, mixed with, blue and red, which is in the mode of passion and ignorance. And what he says is that they have begun devastating everything, because while the process of, well, Brahma is focusing on creation of the universe, but they're also starting to destroy everything even before they are fully formed. And he also describes them with fiery flames from their eyes. And um, and 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 what's also surprising is that they have also attacked him, and which is very unusual, because he's the father of the universe, he's the creator of the universe. And then you know his his grandsons are actually also attacking the creator themselves. So this is where this is what this particular verse says. Any reflection on this before we move to the next one? Any comments on this? So then let's move on to 18. Would anybody like to read recite the English, Sanskrit and the English? Please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Saroj Mataji.
Okay. Tapa athista bhadram te sarva bhuta sukhavaham tapa seva yatha purvam shrashta vishvam idam bhavan. Okay, translation. My dear son, you had better situate yourself in penance, which is auspicious for all living entities, and which will bring all benediction upon you. By penance only shall you be able to create the universe as it was before. Haribol.
Haribol. Thank you so much, Mataji. Would you also like to read the purport as well?
Yeah,
It's
I
a
can
short
read it.
one.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. In the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation, the three deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar, or Shiva, are respectively in charge. Rudra was advised not to destroy while the period of creation and maintenance was going on, but to situate himself in penance and wait for the time of dissolution when his services would be called for. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So here Brahma actually begins with saying, with my dear son. So that really shows how Brahma continues to be very, very affectionate towards his son. And like despite like things that that his son is doing, which is really causing some havoc in the creation of the universe itself. And this is also quite it also speaks of one of the qualities of Brahma, who's got 78% transcendental qualities. And this speaks about his compassion, his not really despite whatever the son is doing, he continues to have that affection towards Rudra. So now he offers some guidance, and which is that you better situate yourself in penance, which is a bit different from his instructions that he gave, like in one of the earlier verses where he goes to say, please generate progeny. So now Brahma has had a rethink of his strategy, and then he believes that it might be best for Rudra to actually do penance. So he advises Rudra, please situate yourself in penance. And Brahma also says something which is auspicious for all living entities and which will bring benediction upon you. So in this we can actually see what the role of penance is. And there is, of course, like in Kali Yuga, when we talk of penance, our penance is not about necessarily going to the forest. We can still do penance, but then, we can do that through, like Harinam Sankirtan. So how you look at penance can be very different depending on, the age and the yoga. And in this context, it's more about, really performing those austerities that Rudraji is anyway doing. And he's also been identified as it's also been identified as one of the places which is austerity. So now Brahmaji says you're better situate yourself in penance. And then he also says that only by doing that will you be able to create the universe as it was before. So he would like the process of creation of the universe to be undisturbed by the living entities or the progeny that Rudra has created. So he feels that the best way Rudra can help in creation of the universe would be to just stay in penance and not really like act till the time comes when the universe has to be destroyed. So and then of course Prabhupada also talks of the various roles of the deities. So Brahma is entrusted with the creation, Vishnu with the maintenance, and then Maheshwar or Shiva or Rudra with the dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. Any questions before we move to the next one? Text 19. So who'd like to read this?
Can I read it, Prabhuji?
Yes, Shibra Mataji.
Apushaiva param yatir bhagavatam adakshayam sarvabhuta guhabhasham anjasha bindati puman. Translation: by penance only can one even approach the personality of Godhead, who is within the heart of every living.
Mataji, we seem to have lost you.
Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Can I read the purport, please?
Yes, please.
Rudra was advised by Brahma to perform penance as an example to his sons and followers that penance is necessary for attaining the favor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that the common mass of people follow the path shown by the authority. Thus, Brahma, disgusted with the Rudra generations and afraid of being devoured by the increase of population, asked Rudra to stop producing such an unwanted generation and take to penance for attaining the favor of the Supreme Lord. We find, therefore, in pictures that Rudra is always sitting in meditation for the attainment of the favor of the Lord. Indirectly, the sons of followers of Rudra are advised to stop the business of annihilation, following the Rudra principles while the peaceful creation of Brahma is going on. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Does anybody remember what the Rudra principle is? It was not very long ago. So the Rudra principle is how anger gets created when when your heart is filled with lust. So lust is the greatest enemy, and when one does not get what we want, it leads to uh, frustration, and that frustration leads to anger. It can also lead to ahankar if you are able to get what you desire. So lust is the greatest enemy, and that's also um, symptomatic of the mode of passion, and Rudra is associated with passion. So you can see that some of those elements are coming here. So what Brahma says here is that by penance only one can approach the personality of Godhead. And he also, like refers to him as a Paramatma who is within the heart of every living entity, and at the same time beyond the reach of all senses, because much as we try to understand Krishna, he tells in the Gita in many instances that I'm inconceivable. No one can truly understand me, and even Lord Shiva cannot understand, because when he was bewildered when when he came in the form of Mohini, and even Brahmaji has been bewildered on many occasions, including an occasion where Krishna was in the, with the uh, with the with the cows, and he stole all the cows, and all of this was just a pastime, which says that even Brahma cannot really completely understand the personality of Godhead. So it's only by penance that you can do so. And there is also a reason that Prabhupada gives why Brahma asked Rudra to perform penance, because he realized that his sons and followers were probably following Rudra because Rudra himself was demonstrating passion. However, in the Gita, as it is said that like any common mass of people, follow the path shown by an authority. So here, Rudra is the authority. He's the father, and to his sons and to his followers. And if he demonstrates, if he performs penance, then it's most likely that his sons and followers will also follow the path of penance, and in doing so will not will not create distractions to the creation of the universe. And we also see here that Brahma has been quite disgusted with the generations, and it's quite, he's a creator of the universe. So he's the creator of the Rudra generations. So he's the father of them, and yet, he himself is, gets, quite disgusted. And that's also a kind of a reflection of the material universe, because the moment the material universe comes into being, then you're influenced by by Maya. And when that happens, even someone as transcendental as Brahma can also can make mistakes, and he could create populations which he would feel disgusted for. So and so he asked Rudra that please don't produce such an unwanted generation, which is kind of interesting, because he himself has created the like Rudra. So and he also like offers the instructions this time. unlike the manager who did not give any instructions, Brahma gives instructions, take to penance because that's how you'll really attain the favor of the Supreme Lord. And this is quite while this is at the beginning of the universe, but it has a very strong message to us even today, because today even we are afflicted by modes of passion, by modes of ignorance. Although we aspire to try to be in the mode of goodness, as much as possible, but because we are influenced by Maya, we forget that many a time. And this is really a good way for us to remind ourselves that it's only when we take to penance, when we, chant, when we, perform devotional service, and when we, read Prabhupada's books, that's how we can truly start, attaining the favor of the Supreme Lord. And anything else on this? Any reflections before we move to the last verse? Verse 20. Would like to read this?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, may I please?
Yes, please.
Maitreya Uvacha Evam Atma Bhuvadishtaha Parikramya Giram Patim Bhatham Iti Amum Atmantriya Vishesha Tapasevanam. Translation. Sri Maitreya said, thus, Rudra, having been ordered by Brahma, circumambulated his father, the master of the Vedas. Addressing him with the words of assent, he entered the forest to perform austere penances. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So this is the second time that Rudra follows Brahma's instructions, his father's instructions. So the first time it was when Brahma said, please create create generate progeny for me, and he does in his own way, with his own understanding of how progeny should be created. So he does that. So, and in this case also, when Brahma says, please stop, producing progeny, and instead, do penance, he accepts, with no hesitation, and then he goes to the penance, to the forest to do penance. So this is again a reflection of the role of a son when it comes to following the instructions of their father. So, and also someone who, because a father is in a position of authority, because he has played a role in bringing you into this universe. So, following his instructions is is um, is what the Vedic scriptures say, and the Vedic scriptures also says that we also had the Kumaras who also were sons of Brahma who did not follow his instructions, but then for the right reasons, which is which is because they did that because they wanted to continue to perform devotional service to the Lord. So they were also right. So the Kumaras were right in not following the instructions of Brahma, and Rudra was right in following the instructions of Brahma. So you can see that both the sons had very different. Ways of listening to their father's instructions, but then both were also right in their own ways. So we see a couple of very good examples. So that's really where we wrap up. So we end this particular verse, and this is a time when Rudra has created progeny, but not but all in his form, in his nature, and Brahma feels that that's going to really be very destructive for the creation of the universe. So then he tells Rudra to stop, creating progeny and instead go to penance. And he also speaks about the importance of penance and how it's only by penance that you can really come closer to attain the supreme personality Godhead. And Rudra obeys him, and he goes to the forest. And that's where we wrap up today's session. So any reflections, any questions before we conclude?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I just want to say I found today's talk very useful, especially with your presentation about the unique position of Shiva. For me, it gave a great context to the whole background to these chapters. So thank you for that. That's my reflection. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. And I think it was also a reflection from my session of the last time, because I realized that if we just read this chapter without really having an understanding of the unique position of Shiva, then um, we could interpret things in a very different way. Yeah. So thanks for that.
Yes, thank you,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this nice explanation.
Hare
Also,
Krishna.
removing the confusion in our head that Lord Shiva, many people say he is in the mode of ignorance, and he does. Some people say he drinks them hung. So holy people are drinking that, and he says that Lord Shiva did that. But Lord Shiva, he is the biggest Vaishnava. How can he do that? So Lord Shiva is not doing that. Also, you say we may do penances in this Kali Yuga, but the biggest one, as you said, is the Harinam Sankirtan. We cannot actually really be in the mode of goodness. Why? Because this material world consists of the three modes. And then we have to sleep. So when we are sleeping, we are in the mode of ignorance, right? We have to work to earn. So we are in the mode of passion, right? And then when we do our service to the Lord, that is goodness. So all three have to be balanced, right? But if we take only one, it won't work. Even the great sages, they do eat, they do sleep. So we cannot not do that. Also, we have to earn, we have to have a house, right? We have to have money to sustain our family. Otherwise, the world will stop there. Everybody just become sages, and there is no population, and already imbalance will start, right? So we should do our best, though, to be mostly in the mode of goodness. Even we are working, we are earning, we are in the Grihastha life, our goal, the center of our life should be Krishna. Then we will slowly we can move to the pure goodness mode. Goodness is not all. We have to go higher, pure goodness. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Of course, given our starting point, I mean, we are so far away from, the mode of goodness that all we do is just like aspire, because there's so many impurities in our heart, and it'll be quite like impractical to even think of a situation where we are even closer to, say, 70-80 percent goodness. So yes, I think we given this world, we would need to have a balance, and our efforts are to strive to go as much into the mode of goodness as possible. So as I think, is it chapter 16 or 17 would say, where it's really there is a constant battle that even our minds are going through, the good dog and the bad dog, and we should try as far as possible to to nourish the good dog, and we can only do that by chanting, by doing devotional service, and then in nourishing the good dog, I think we will be purifying ourselves and spend more time in the mode of goodness than passion and ignorance. And of course, you could do that as long as you perform, devotional service to Krishna, and as long as you try to please him, then every action becomes a transcendental action. So thank
Yes,
you so much
Prabhuji.
for. Yeah,
Sorry, we should not worry because the Harinam Sankirtan is there. That is, Prabhupada said, if you just chant and then hold my dhoti, I have the back door key of the Vaikuntha. So we have to listen to him, just do our chanting, and then follow him. Hare Krishna.
Indeed.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Shri Kushari Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you
Hare
very much
Krishna.
for a wonderful class. Yeah. So any more comments or questions from anybody before we wrap up the session? Okay, so shall we say our Vaishnav prayer? Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki
Yay.
jai. Srila Prabhupada ki
Yay.
jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Madan.
Thank you,
Krishna. Thank you
Prabhuji.
so much.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so
Thank
much
you.
for your
Thank
class.
you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank
Hare
you
Krishna.
very much.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.